All right, so today we're going to jump into Robinhood and its impact on cryptocurrency, specifically Dogecoin. And I think there's a big relationship here we're going to dive into. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to TechPath. Robinhood, as you know, went public here recently. Obviously, there's been a lot of hoo-ha around what they're doing in both the crypto space, but also just in general, you've got either the lovers and or the haters of Robinhood with the situation with GameStop and kind of the restricted trading, all those kind of things that have been happening in the past 6 months. All this has really been rolling up into what we're seeing now. But I want to jump to this first story. And this one is Robinhood says Doge accounted for 62% of crypto revenue in Q2. You can kind of see the second bullet right here. Crypto made up over 50% of the transaction-based revenue in the second quarter, up from 17% in the first quarter. So absolutely skyrocketing behavior in terms of where the traders are moving to. Now, this is a bigger thing that I have talked about on the channel before, is right now we're in a very interesting space in the asset classes. And what I mean by that is if you're investing right now in traditional markets, the likelihood, if you're smart investors, you probably took some profits, I'm assuming. You're also experiencing some red days here this week. Likelihood we're going to see a market correction at some point this fall. And when all of this starts to move, there's going to be one safe haven, and that's going to be cryptocurrency. I do believe crypto is going to be the hedge for the traditional markets. Real estate is starting to correct. Even in markets like here in South Florida, we started to see movement. Construction numbers are down. All kinds of things are affecting the stock market. And whether or not Robinhood can maintain is going to depend on how they roll out cryptocurrency, more coins, and of course their wallet. I want to get into a little bit more in this story. In its first earnings report since the IPO last month, says its revenue was up in transaction was 233 million, up from 5 million a year before. 1 year before, 233 million. Crypto accounted there, again, 52%, and rising from 17% in the first quarter and 4% in the previous quarter. Look at the growth track here, 4%, 17%, 52%, and you've got that coming. The company also noted the cumulative net funded accounts traded in crypto was at 60%. So these are crazy numbers when you look at the overall popularity of where Robinhood is going and how it's kind of pumping. And this is a Reddit community piece right here. And I think this is something that we need to be watching very closely in the sense of whether or not, because there are some theories out there that if Robinhood does open up the wallet, we could see a mass exodus, especially with the Dogecoin holders. Now, I don't know if that would necessarily take place, but I'd like to know if you are a Robinhood Dogecoin holder, and if you are, if they open up a wallet, would you stay or would you go? Just let me know in the comments below. But in this post, it was like, hey, Q2 loss, but they pumped up 60% of customers are trading. It's time to get everybody off of Robinhood. This is kind of, again, back to the whole point of where there's a little bit of love-hate for where Robinhood is going. And when you look at this is a company that is called Say, and I won't get into this one heavily, but Say was acquired by Robinhood. And essentially what they do is they track these earnings calls and all of the questions and things that were said. So I just did a simple crypto search on their earnings call, and right here showed the kind of activity that was asking. Is Robinhood getting a crypto wallet? 141,000 shares represented here. Robinhood right here, shareholders, is the future. Do you plan to create a way to exchange cryptocurrencies among traders with your app and debit card? Big one there, 13 votes up versus the 1.6 thousand there. And then right here, a cryptocurrency investor, will they create their own crypto wallet? Obviously, we know that's coming. Lots happening here, and this was really a big part of the earnings call around crypto, obviously, when you look at the numbers and where they're going. I want to jump to their investor deck and kind of just move into a couple of things. One is their net cumulative funds. Let me zoom up on that just a hair so you guys can kind of see some things. All right, so funded accounts rose again from 18 million to 22.5 million. I mean, come on. If Robinhood had any fear at all, you would have seen a lot lower. Now, what concerns me is the fact that we saw more and more going toward crypto, and Robinhood isn't ready for crypto, but yet the audience and the market is ready for crypto My question is going to be, does Robinhood miss this bull run? That's the big question. If they miss this bull run, it's going to be, potentially 18 months, maybe less. I know there's a lot of people that think this bull run is going to last longer and it will be a shorter cycle in terms of the bear season. But the likelihood is that Robinhood is really in a good position here if they could roll the wallet out and just open up a few more tokens, Cardano, a handful of those that would really be, I think, big in terms of the ecosystem and where it's going when you look at the number of just token projects that are out there. Monthly active users, again, up again, 17.7, 21.3. I became a Robinhood user for the first time right before they went public, mainly because I wanted to get access to the IPO. But assets under custody, look at this. Again, another rise, 81 to 102 in billions. Here we go on some bigger numbers. Average revenue per user, this is where it dropped right here. I think this is a little bit of the Reddit and the GameStop crowd being upset. Total net revenues, you can kind of see the numbers right here in Q2. Total net revenues were up, but profitability, that's the question mark, is going to be where we're going. Transaction-based revenues, again, another climb in the quarter. And then, of course, net interest revenues, which was moderate, I think, in the sense of where it's going, because they've got margin interest, securities lending, some other things that happen around where this is heading. So I think what we're dealing with in Robinhood's situation right now is they've got a lot of activity on crypto. Clearly, I think everybody knows. And interestingly enough, the behavior and habits of even my own trading on Robinhood is moving more and more into crypto and less into stocks. And I think as this happens during what we could see as the market crash, there's two things that could kind of be a perfect storm for Robinhood. You've got the bull run occurring. You potentially have a market adjustment that's going to happen in the fall. And that's kind of what I'm calling, is in the fall we will see some corrections. And when you do see that correction, it is going to open up an opportunity for a buying season, probably late year and or early Q1. And that will, of course, generate a lot of interest again back into the stock market, but will it generate enough depending on where the bull runs? So there could be two big key things happening here. One is the bull run and when it starts to subside, and two is when the market corrects and when it takes off again. Both those things will have big factors in where Robinhood is plugging into all of this. Now, Robinhood is very connected at the hip to Dogecoin. So much so, and I'm going to kind of just, if you think about what's happening in Doge and whether or not Robinhood stays close to it or closer to it, especially as the numbers continue to move on this directive, big question will be how many people stay around after the wallet comes in. That's beside the point. But the issue will be back to the fact of whether or not they can gain new users based on cryptocurrency. And I want to jump over to this story right here that was on Fortune, just on about Ethereum's founder and an advisor to Elon Musk that are joining the Dogecoin board and where this might be going. Because with Doge, you've got a lot of activity in the space now. So this is a group looking for 3 years worth of funding to hire staff and work on Dogecoin full-time. This is getting serious, and we've talked about this on the channel before. There's been a lot of movements kind of already pointing in this direction. But furthermore, in its new iteration, the group will include Dogecoin creator Billy Marcus as a community and memes advisor, Jared Birchall, who is the head of Elon Musk's family office. That's Elon's family office, and will represent the billionaire on Dogecoin as a Dogecoin advocate. And then, of course, the core developer, Max Keller, as the technical lead and advisor. And then you've got, of course, the Ethereum co-founder jumping into this as well. So there's a lot happening here in the sense of where Dogecoin is moving as a serious meme coin going mainstream, and then Robinhood sitting over here with what could be one of the largest exchanges in terms of Dogecoin holders. That would be my question. I would love to see when we start to see on-chain metrics around where those wallets are being held. Is it when Robinhood actually has the wallets and we can get that kind of data? That will be an interesting thing to kind of see. I want to jump over to Trade the Chain quickly just to see where Doge is trading today and in the 7-day. So we saw a little bit of a rise yesterday and this week up to around 32.8 cents, and then a little bit of fall and then another bump back into 32, and then we've kind of stabilized again right here in the 30-cent range. A little bit of positive sentiment on Trade the Chain. This is a little different than what we've been scoring with Doge, and I want to jump to our chart just to kind of give you guys a look on this. So we've actually scored 2 winners here on Doge, and let me kind of point these out. So back in July, we scored this. The AMP was at 4109. We looked at it going a little flat, and it did right here. We saw a little bit of a rise right here. So the trailing, we were right on schedule with that one. And again, sentiment and amplification, 2 different factors. Sentiment is really how people talk and feel about the project. Amplification is how we see it basically on the node effect in social across a variety of platforms. Where does that move? Our sentiment, 59.18, this was right here in August 8th through August 9th. We pulled that, and we pulled the amplification at 62.33. That's a very high amp for Doge, and sure enough, we followed it and predicted right where it was going, with exception of this one little spot right there, and that was this high point. And we did see a little bit of a lull right here, but we picked it up pretty tightly right here. We've got another amplification and sentiment bubble that we're tracking right now, which is at 63.92, up again, and then AMP is also up again, and that's what you've got right here is this Doge activity. So will we see it moving back up to around what we think is going to be somewhere around this 38-cent range by end of August? This is where it's kind of focusing on Doge, and I think a lot of this is coming from, of course, the new initiatives within Dogecoin, but I think we're also seeing with Robinhood, the opportunity is going to be if they continue to grow. When you go back and look at those Robinhood numbers, I'm going to just jump back to a couple of these chart real quick. Hang on one second, guys. Yeah, it's here, investor deck. Let's go up here to this Q1 right here. Okay, so back to this net cumulative funded accounts. If this continues to see this kind of growth right here, between 18 million, 22.5 by end of Q3, if we see that somewhere around 25 to 26 million, I'm telling you, this is going to be big because timing, as I said, is really everything right now for this bull run. And Doge will be there. It will be at the dance for sure. So if you guys like what you're seeing, hearing over here on Tech Path, make sure if you're on the podcast side, give us some kudos and stars over there. If you're here on the YouTube front, number one thing you can do is share this video and, of course, give us some thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here, obviously crypto, technology, innovations, EV we do to a certain level in terms of depth. And we also go into a little bit on robotics, AI, which is really kind of coming up quickly. I think with Tesla's AI Day coming up soon, lots going to be covering on that. Of course, if you want to hit us up for ideas or in the comments, you know how to do that. But if you want to hit me up on Twitter, it's @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.